On this lesson, we are going to talk about integration. Our application insights can be integrated with other applications, or other applications can interact with the application insights in order to get data or send data to it. So there are some common scenarios from which we want to integrate with other applications. The first one is automation. The second one would be to send data to application insights. The third one would be to getting data out of application insights by exporting it. And the fourth one would be querying data from application insights from other applications. Automation is typically used to manage resources. So, for example, we can integrate application insights into our DevOps process, so we can automatically provisioning resources from our DevOps process, from our release or build process. Instead of doing by hand, we can do it by using ARM or the SDK, the REST API, or even the command line, Azure command line. We also want to, for example, handle alerts, and we wish to, besides receiving alerts by email, we can receive emails to a webhook or to Azure runbook in order to automate some kind of stuff. For example, to send an SMS with an alert, or to automate it with other tools. We may want to register annotations on application insights, and an annotation is a register of an event that has occurred in somewhere else, and we want to register it on application insights. For example, the configuration has changed or a deploy has been made, and this annotation is going to be visible on Metrics Explorer. If you are analyzing data, we can see that an event has occurred, and perhaps that event has contributed to a drop, an increase or a decrease of performance or errors or something like that. So, for example, a new version has been released and the errors have been increased. We can see from the annotation that there was a deployment for a new version there. Another scenario that we want is to send data to application insights. So the common use of sending data to application insights is to use the SDK, and that uses the application insights schema. But we may want to use our own data with our own schema to application insights in order to correlate with application insights data, or to augment it. For example, we want to have a report. Besides using the request, we want to use the name of the page with a friendly name, so we can inject them into the system in order to get more data. Or we want to do some data importing using our own schema. So we can use the SDK, or we can use the REST API in order to send data to application insights with our own schema. Another scenario is to export data. So we can export data, for example, if the retention policy is not enough. The retention policy by default is 90 days. If you want to keep the data for any longer, we need to export it to any other system. We can use a feature that's called continuous export, that exports the data to Azure storage in real time. So if you want to ingest it in other systems, you can do it using that feature. Or you want to export the data to Power BI to query it just like any other data source that Power BI supports. Or if you want, you can use the Data Access REST API in order to get data from application insights and implement any custom mechanism to import data into SQL or any other storage that you may have, or any other application that needs. So you have this kind of scenarios to allow you to export data. Besides, sometimes we also want to get data from application insights, but exporting it is way overkill. We don't need all the data. We just need some small data, typically aggregated data, and we can query the data from application insights directly using analytics queries, using the REST API. For example, if you are using an information radiator, a dashboard that shows some kind of directed information from application insights, you can do it. For example, the VSTS on the VSTS marketplace, there is a widget that displays on VSTS dashboards an indicator about some metrics in application insights. You can configure the kind of indicators that you want, and the kind of aggregation that you want, and the information is going to be displayed automatically.